Hello, my name is Geogen and welcome back to World of Tanks. Today I'm playing in the Oni Tier 7 Japanese heavy tank. Biggest tank in the game by sheer size. Not in terms of armor, not in terms of the gun of course, but unfortunately for us we're not going to be on top of the team list. In fact we're right at the bottom. Well, there is a Scorpion and an M12, but we are 3 Tier 7s in a very Tier 8 and Tier 9 game. So, the Oni, as you can see, is very slow, 25 km/h top speed. Its armor is pretty strong against certain rounds, and certain tiers of course. The turret is mostly 150mm thick, especially on the cheeks. But around the gun mantle, something which is quite common with Japanese tanks, is this sort of straight strip here, which is 220mm thick. And the upper plate, lower plate, all of this is 175. The sides here and here of these turrets are in fact 150. So there are weaknesses, but these are curved, so they're basically quite strong. Or as strong as the rest of the front anyway. Side armor is big and flat, doesn't really matter how thick it is. I think it's like 75 or 70. And the rear is 150. So it can be penned really easily at this tier. But in tier 7 games, maximum games, tier 5s will struggle to penetrate you with standard ammunition. And even things like ISs without using gold ammo will struggle to pen you. In terms of gun choice, your own offensive capability is kind of restricted in terms of using the 105mm gun. It has 190 pen, I believe. Or, yeah, I think it's probably 190. That would be in keeping with tier 7 heavies. Still lower than the T29 and the Tiger II in that. Higher than the IS. But it has 320 average damage and very, very low DPM. Or you could use this gun, which is a 150mm howitzer, which has AP heat or HE. I haven't loaded any AP rounds because they only have 120 pen. And they take so long to reload, it's about 14-15 seconds, that there's literally no point. And I'd rather do HE damage or heat if necessary. The heat rounds are okay. They're 150 pen. So again, these are for very flat surfaces only. They're not these hyper heat rounds that you'll see on other tanks. Even this VK I would struggle to pen with 150mm of heat. Instead we do 281 damage to his front upper plate, possibly crippling something in his tank, perhaps the driver or radio upright. And that's what these HE guns do really. They are very good at killing soft targets, certainly, but usually you will do critical damage, knock out viewports, tracks, guns, crew members, etc, etc. This T26E4 did 262 damage there, but he's a tier 8, and being in a tier 7 heavy tank, you're at a disadvantage against those vehicles. Although, to be fair, he does have a weak gun with standard ammunition, but he could load gold and easily pen us. So, this C75 is a problem for us, certainly, but we do 430 damage to him. I believe we hit the side, or maybe, in fact, because of the armor angle, it may be where the driver's hatches are, on top, or just in front of the turret. Looking for a shot here on the AMX. Ooh, the side looks good. 667 penetration there. High explosive pens are always the best kind of pens. I mean, Death Star drivers, the 215B183, will be the first people to agree with me on that. HE damage is the best damage with those hash rounds. Those are so devastating against pretty much every target in the game. But considering we're tier 7 in a tier 9 game, it's nothing special doing what we're doing, but it is nice being able to do damage in these games where in other tier 7 heavy tanks you'll either be killed because you can't pen anything without resorting to gold ammo, or you won't do enough damage. And to be honest, I'm surprised I wasn't in a situation where numerous enemy tanks would come in and attack me and therefore get my side rear and just instantly kill me. That's the problem with these high explosive rounds. It's the same with the KB2 and the OI tier below, where people who use the howitzers have such a very long reload, and additionally if you don't let it aim sometimes this gun just completely misses and you've just wasted 14-15 seconds of your game time. But we've done 2,200 damage in a tier 9 game, and that was just with HE, no heat loaded, although I do have 15 rounds of it. That's another thing about this tank, it carries an exceptionally large amount of ammunition, similar to the mouse in that regard, but you're never ever going to go through all of those rounds in this tank, especially with this gun. Kind of worried about that young tiger for obvious reasons. He can easily pen me at any angle. I'm waiting for him to fire hopefully so I can get a little bit more damage off. Although, to be fair, or in hindsight, I could have gone over much earlier than this and got damage another way. I only did 300 damage to the side 80mm, but I ran him for a further 5. And there he goes. Target down. And the game was very quick, surprisingly. So for a assault play on Sand River, sometimes this game just... this map and this game mode take quite a long time. I know there's only 7 or so minutes, but usually it's a little longer than that, but it wasn't bad, especially considering the matchup. So, we'll just have a brief look at the post-game results. Well, considering I don't really feel like I did that much in that game, a first class is not to be trifled with. Kind of surprising, but there we go. A bruiser, shellproof, 5 for effect, 44,000 credits, 5,292 experience premium times 3. There is all the stuff that we did, so for the super purging it doesn't actually say, which is unfortunate, but I really wished it would say in the post-game results on what replays what kind of critical damage you did, because it does in-game, just not on here. Top on the team on damage, surprisingly though, in a tier 7 and a tier 9 game, it's pretty good. Somewhat socialist game, if you could call, because the damage is roughly equal, well, it's more equal than, say, other games where you see one player do 6,000 damage and the rest of the players do 2 to 400 damage, you know, not a lot, but 2,600, 2,000, 2,000, 1,500, very similar, and this Ramatel had an okay game, I guess, although it was rather short. 7 shots fired, 7 hits, 7 penetrations, 1 was at full pen, the rest were just HE splash. Over the armor, 5 hits received, 5 bounces, 1,700 blocked by armor. So yeah, this tank can block, and some people would call it a bit broken perhaps in tier 7 games. I don't know, it has to have certain things going for it. Cover on both sides so the sides aren't exposed, enemies which come at you one by one, reload time is so long, things like that really, which frustrate me about the vehicle in some regards, but sometimes you just have nice HE pens like AMX. So, there you go. Oni, bit of a derpy machine, but we'll see how the tanks up at tier 8 and tier 10, the type 4 and type 5 will do whenever I get around to it, because, you know, grinds take a long time unless you want to flash the cash. But anyway, as always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you chaps and chapettes in the next one.